How's it going there, folks? I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs, and look, I bought a drone. It's not really a drone, okay, it's a quadcopter, but people call them drones. I'm gonna call mine a drone. It's a drone. This is the DJI Phantom 3 Professional Series. I've never owned a quadcopter, not even a cheap one, and this one is not cheap, but I will talk to you about why I bought it and why it's so cool. I do wanna mention really quickly, and apologize for the lack of videos these last few days. Stuff has been hectic in school, but things are back on schedule, and in fact, I'm flying out later tonight to Denver to cover the Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, and it's going to be awesome. I'll bring you coverage on the latest stuff in headphones from a lot of our headphone manufacturers that we love, as well as amplifiers and all that good stuff. Mobile, players, it's gonna be great. And so expect videos the next several days to a week on that show. But the DJI Phantom is something that I've wanted for a very long time. Not this specific model per se, but a drone. I mean, people have flown them around time and time again, and each time I see one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want one of those so bad. But then I'd go to the website, look at the price, and be like, maybe next year. Well, I finally got a really, really good deal on this model, and this is why I bought this one, or really a drone at all, because I got a great deal on it. But the reason this Phantom is so cool, and a lot of people ask me, well, why'd you get the Phantom 3 Professional? Keep in mind, the professional model of the Phantom 3 does shoot in 4K. And so the reason I got it was because it shoots in 4K. It shoots in 30 frames per second 4K, and it actually has the exact same sensor that is in the GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition. So I got the whole entire drone with a camera that's as good as a GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition for a couple $100 more than a GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition. So I figured, how could I not get this at this price point? And that's the reason I got this model. I've never owned a drone before, but after 3 days of ownership, it's already like the easiest thing to fly. They're pretty dang hard to crash. Like, you'd have to be hard pressed to crash this thing. I guess carelessness could also, kind of work into that equation, but very, very easy to fly. The app and the interface is absolutely incredible. The remote controller is fantastic. I can fly this thing, well, legally, to the legal height, which is 400 feet up in the air, and then I can fly it, a mile away without losing any range, which is absolutely remarkable. And I'm gonna show you how it works right now. So let's take a look. Okay, so as you guys can tell, it is really windy outside. It's actually the windiest it's ever been with me flying it. So I guess we'll see how well it holds its position, but theoretically, it should do pretty well, because in the top of this aircraft, right in this area, we have the GPS sensors. And not only is it the North American GPS satellites, but it also connects to GLONASS, which is Russia's satellite network. So I'm currently connected to 18 GPS satellites nodes up in the sky, which really, really makes these quite accurate. Now, one of the things that's unique to the Phantom 3 is it has what's called VPS, or the Virtual Positioning System. So it uses sonar. There are sensors located underneath the aircraft, and it uses sonar up to, I believe, 15 feet to detect how it's positioned on the ground. So not only does it make sure that it stays in the same place in area from GPS, but VPS actually makes sure that it doesn't waver up and down, even theoretically in high winds. Now, I haven't flown it in winds this fast, so we'll see how well it holds its position. Okay, so launching the thing is pretty dang easy. All we have to do is put the thumbsticks down in the corner, and then we just push up on the elevator throttle. So you can see it immediately after it launches. The aircraft is tilted pretty far sideways, and that's to compensate for the extreme wind that's in the air. And as you can see, I'm giving it a little throttle in both directions now, and the controls are very, very responsive. I can go left, I can go right, I can go backwards and forwards, and the aircraft does an excellent job at holding control. Now, there's also the left thumbstick, which allows you to have elevator control, so you can go up and you can go down, and then you can actually turn it around, because the gimbal is not a 360-degree gimbal, so you have to turn the aircraft itself, which I thought would add quite a bit of noise, but the gimbal's so dang good that you won't really notice a difference in the video quality. And let's test that out now. So I'm going to press record right now on the video setting of the camera. We are now recording, and let's lift off. So you can see it looks really, really nice. I can slowly spin the aircraft in order to get these crispy pans. I'm spinning a little bit fast, and there's going to be a little bit of shake, I can tell in the video, because of the really high winds, but honestly, it's really, really good. which is really impressive and nice to see. Now, not only can you do that, but you also have control of the gimbal. So I can pull the gimbal downwards and also push it upwards, which is pretty dang cool. So you can do vertical pans. And then there's a button on the back of the controller that allows you to flip the camera in either direction really quickly. So I can flip it towards the ground or flip it away from the ground, and it does a really, really nice job. The cool thing about it is it allows me to see everything that the camera sees because of the latest, and this is also unique to the Phantom 3, there is a control, there's a system called Light Bridge, and this is what's connected into my phone. So it transmits 720p video at 60 frames per second to the iPad controller, which is really, really impressive. And again, I'm up in the sky, I can turn around to make sure I'm in the right direction. You always want the aircraft facing the back towards you to make it easiest to control, and then you just fly it. And the thing hauls. I mean, it'll go 35 miles an hour, I believe, and it has an incredibly long range. So that was a really, really hard turn, and you can see the video still stays pretty dang stable. Okay, so I now have the camera facing towards me, and I want to show you how good this gimbal is. Now, I didn't mention this, but there's a lot of, drone is a word that's kind of used loosely. They're more quadcopters because they're still controlled. They're not fully autonomous. They don't fly themselves. But the Phantom 3 has a lot of automated features. For example, if I press a button on my iPad, the vehicle and the hovercraft will take off by itself. So I don't need to control anything. It just does it all by itself, which is pretty dang cool. So I'm going to look at the viewfinder here in the camera to make sure we're in visible area. So there we go. So you can see the aircraft, there is a lot of wind because you can see the gimbal's flat, but the aircraft is tilted pretty severely. And it's pretty amazing that it holds its position as well as it does. I bet winds right now are 25 miles an hour, so it is really windy. Now, if I press right, the gimbal will go right. If I press it left, it will go left. And you can see I'm tilting the aircraft very severely. And the camera does move, but not a lot. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And so it holds its position rather quite well. I can do the same controls going backwards to front. So I can go back, I can go forwards, I can go back, I can go forwards. And the camera shakes a little bit, but not that much, especially with minor movements like this. The gimbal is like smooth as butter. It's really rather impressive. Now, it is only filming at 30 frames per second, so that's going to introduce a little bit of noise, but it's still pretty dang good. I'm getting relatively close here because I want to show you how well it holds its position. Let me go up a little bit more, and we'll fly it right into the center of the frame. So it does a pretty nice job at staying in place. This wind is just howling. And I will tell you that when there is no wind, it stays perfectly still. So we can turn the aircraft around and move it back forwards. And let's go forward again. So it really just is really, really good. I mean, everything is really excellent. The way the camera pans, the way the aircraft pans, it's just really, really nice. Okay, so I just wanted to show you really quickly that I am up in the sky. I'm 396 feet in the air, which is as high, pretty much 400 feet is as high as you can legally fly by the FAA. I'm also 228 feet away from my position right now. Now, let's say, and this is not an ideal situation, but let's say you lost control of the aircraft or you lost radio signal. There's a failsafe called return to home, and the aircraft will actually fly right back to you. It's also good for inexperienced flyers, and really you should learn how to fly. Even just in a day of flying, I'm able to manage the aircraft very easily and land it with ease. But I just want to show you this feature. So if I press here on the app, this button 2 times, the aircraft actually gets the indication that it's time to come home. So it will turn around and it flies exactly to the GPS location that it needs to go. It flies up to a set altitude by stock of 60 meters, which is just enough height that it doesn't crash into anything. But for me, it's, we're 400 feet up in the air, so that's not really so much an issue. But we do want the aircraft to come back to our position. So it's now above us and it is now landing. I can tilt the camera towards the ground so you can see exactly what I'm seeing from above. Well, I guess I'm seeing it from the ground. You're seeing it from above. and let's see how closely it lands in the position from which it launched. It usually does pretty well. I've had places where it lands exactly in the same spot and some places where it's a few feet off. I'm actually in an area that has a bunch of radio towers, and then the wind is at extreme signal. So I'm not sure it will land as exactly smoothly as it usually does, but nonetheless, let's try and test this thing out. So I'm gonna press record on my regular video camera because it looks like it's about 10 feet off of where it landed, but still pretty dang good. And let's see how it lands. So you can see the ground, I can see the ground. I'll flip the camera now so you can see a little more vertically. And you can see that here on my camera, it's landing and it bounces a couple times, but there we go. It's landed perfectly. So it's great for inexperienced flyers who either lose control of their aircraft, lose radio signal with their aircraft, and or just don't know how to fly at home. So that is the return to home feature from DJI.